The Story of Pinocchio. Once upon a time, there was a piece of wood. It wasn't fine wood, the kind that is used to make toys or furniture for the sitting room. It was a cheap kind of wood, good to be burnt in the fireplace. Old Geppetto, who worked as a carpenter, was very poor and didn't have any better wood than that to make the puppet that he wanted so much. So, instead of using the log for making fire, he began to carve it. With a chisel and lots of patience, from the log slowly emerged a round little head, some wavy hair, a pointy little nose, and a delightful mouth. Then, with the finest of his brushes, Geppetto painted two big curious eyes and a pair of eyebrows that looked a bit surprised. When he had finished, Geppetto rested his puppet on a shelf and said admiringly, "I've done a really good job. I'll call him Pinocchio." And because he didn't have children, Geppetto sighed. Wouldn't it be nice if he was a real boy? Geppetto was a man as good as gold, and the Blue Fairy decided he deserved to have his wish come true. In the middle of the night, while he was fast asleep, the fairy appeared in his house and, with her magic wand, she gave life to Pinocchio. Then she revealed to him,
"If you will be obedient, generous, and brave, you will become a real boy."
"Yes, Fairy, I'll be very good,"
promised Pinocchio. The next day, Geppetto almost fainted when he saw Pinocchio skipping around the house.
"Dad, I want to go to school,"
said the puppet in a silvery high voice that sounded like little bells. Geppetto hugged him with teary eyes and said, "Of course, my boy." As he didn't have a single penny in his pocket, he rushed to sell his one and only coat to buy schoolbooks for Pinocchio. The next day, Pinocchio sold his schoolbooks and bought a ticket for the puppet show. He had a lot of fun there. Mangiafuoco, the puppeteer, was impressed with Pinocchio and wanted to take him in the show. Pinocchio started to cry, saying he wanted to get back home. Mangiafuoco, who had a scary look but a good heart, decided to give him some golden coins and set him free. Soon after, Pinocchio bumped into two well-known swindlers, the cat and the fox.
"Bury your coins in the field of miracles, and tomorrow you'll find a big tree packed with coins,"
said the two thieves. "Pinocchio, go back home," said Pinocchio's conscience. But he didn't listen. He fell for the trick and set off with the cat and the fox. All of a sudden, they grabbed Pinocchio and took away his gold coins. Then they tied him to a branch and left him dangling there. Luckily, the Blue Fairy came to the rescue and took the puppet to her home. Pinocchio told the fairy all about his misadventures. But each time he said something that wasn't true, his nose grew a little bit. And he told so many tales that in no time his nose had reached across the room. However, the fairy forgave Pinocchio when he said,
"Sorry."
She told him never to tell lies and sent him home. On his way home, Pinocchio met Candlewick, who brought him to Toyland. Here they had a great time, but there was one little problem. Little by little, they were turning into donkeys. One day, Pinocchio was sold to a drum maker who wanted his skin to make a drum. To escape his new master, Pinocchio jumped into the sea from a high cliff. As soon as he touched the water, he was swallowed by a huge whale. Inside the belly of the whale, Pinocchio found his dad, who had been looking for him everywhere. Pinocchio and Geppetto used the last of their candles to light up a great big fire in the throat of the whale, hoping that it would sneeze. And it did! So they both managed to escape. As soon as Pinocchio and Geppetto were home, the blue fairy appeared and, as a reward for his good heart, turned the puppet into a real boy. The end.